You ready for this?
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn, hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Need a brew? Oh, I do. Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So hello and welcome to the 67th episode of the Nexus Trolls, a podcast all about Heroes of the Storm, part of the Trolls.gg Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Daz, and I'm joined today, as always, by LiQuiuD and Mystic. How's it going, guys?
It's going good. I just realized that she should have been on the show on February 28th. That would be more fitting for him.
Why am I missing something here?
Oh, man.
I don't know, man. It's okay. It's all right. We can keep going. It's a Gank Push Squad joke. They would get that.
Okay. Well, I feel like I watch the Gangbush Squad every week. I should know whatever inside jokes they have. But that being said, awkwardness aside, we've got Shiz on the show. Not one of the original troll. Shiz, welcome back to the show, bud. Last time we saw you, you were debating me very poorly, I believe, and you lost.
That is horse shit. I am pretty sure I won, and those votes were completely misconstrued and manipulated. Just like the election.
So back on episode 8 or whatever it was the first HOTS debate we did. It was me and Shiz, and the loser had to eat a bunch of hot peppers.
Oh
Shiz
my gosh.
did that debate with me. He left, never showed up to the show again because he started getting busy with work. And then everyone's saying, when's the guy going to come back and eat the hot peppers? And I was like, you know what? I'll just do it. And I ended up biting that bullet quite literally for you there, Shiz. And that sucked.
I'll have to come back on a future episode and totally eat my peppers.
You gotta do your dues.
I do gotta get paid my dues.
Since we're talking about that, what are those standings? It's been a while since we've had a debate. I'm not sure I remember.
Oh God!
Remember those standings? Man.
LiQuiuD uses his Russian botnet to vote for himself.
I can't. It's straw poll.
He beat
Yeah,
Cavalier
exactly.
Guest. We know that was
Vote manipulation at its finest.
Wait, hold on. The Cavalier Guest vote was like a lot to a lot. I beat him, but like there were a lot of votes in that. Way more than any Russian botnet would generate for me. Come on.
I don't know, man. You just flexed your network and you got yourself up there.
Gave out those promo codes is what he did.
So we kind of alluded to it. Shiz and me were actually the two that started the show with episode 0. No one will probably ever see that episode because it was absolutely atrocious. I mean, the content was good, but I didn't have streaming figured out and it was dropping frames like crazy, so we scrapped it. And episode 1, Mystic joined us. It was me, Mystic, and Shiz. So Mystic was there from the beginning that anyone will see, but Shiz was there before that. And I think it's pretty safe to say that Trolls GG is an entertainment network, or in this podcast wouldn't have ever happened if it wasn't for Shiz, because not only did Shiz, the reason I met him was because I put out a call for people for a cheer league team and he answered the call.
Yes.
And then a few months later, I pitched the idea of doing a show. He said, no. I wore him down. Eventually he said yes. We started doing the show, and then he ditched us after about 8 episodes, and LiQuiuD and Mystic and me just kind of done it since then.
I had real life work come up. I was deployed.
Which is fully understandable. This
Right.
is actually the real reason we brought you on the show, is just
I don't think any of us
slash
question
on
the
you.
fact that you had to leave. Like, we all understand that.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's right. Without you guys doing this show, Trolling wouldn't exist. All the writers we have writing articles on our site, none of this would be a reality.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I was able to give birth to the trolls, and it's still flourishing.
It's the butterfly effect. Shiz flapped his wings and Trolls.gg was born.
That's what I do. I just create stuff.
Yeah.
So
all joking aside, we've got a pretty good show today. There's not a ton of news. We had a patch drop today, but it was like really more like a bug fix patch. So we're going to take some listener questions because we haven't done that in a while. We have a bit of a backlog. We're also going to do LiQuiud's Esports Corner as per usual. Great having Shiz along too, because we know he's a big follower of HGC. And we're going to cover the news as per usual. But before we do that, we're going to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/trollsgg. If you're looking for a way to support the show, you can always do so over there. Thanks to all those that are patrons. And our troll of the week this week.
Wait. I wrote this down later, but I'm going to do it now because it makes more sense.
Do it.
Bags put in a whole, if you're a Patreon or you're thinking about being a patron or anything, like you have $1 to spare a month or more, head over there. Bags put in a bunch of work and redid the Patreon just recently, and a lot of stuff's changed. There's a lot of cool new goals up there, so go check that out. Trolls, or patreon.com/trollsgg.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of usually glaze over the Patreon stuff, but it's definitely worth checking out. If you're even considering, you can check it out and see if there's anything that you'd be willing to, put $1 or $2 a month or whatever towards the show and get us close to those stretch goals. There's a lot of cool stuff over there. Definitely check it out. LiQuiud, do you want to talk about the troll of the week this week?
I can absolutely talk about the troll of the week. So, friend of the show, he's been on the show before. He has casted the original Creators of the Storm. He does a ton for this community. In fact, he's on the Blizz Heroes mainstream right now, casting Heroes of the Storm, and that is Haloran. Great dude, all around great guy, and has grown and flourished in this community. He started casting Chair League and is now a Heroes of the Storm caster. So he's an awesome all-around dude.
He's living the dream right now, and definitely one of the nicest people I've ever met in the community. If you have a chance to go to BlizzCon, you'll likely see him there. I imagine next year he'll probably be at the meetups and everything at con before the storm. So definitely, say hi to Lauren. He's really approachable, really nice guy. So thanks, Lauren, for being a friend of the show and doing all that you do for the community. Okay, well, how about we jump into the news?
Someday, this will make a great story.
First item on the docket. We've got Creators of the Storm coming up in 2 weeks. It's, for those of you that don't know...
So soon.
I know. There's a lot of work involved, and both myself and LiQuiud have been busting our asses trying to get all this stuff done in time. But what Creators of the Storm is, if you don't know, all of the podcasters in the community are getting together and doing like a fun, lighthearted tournament. It's on the February 24th between 1 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know how HOTS tournaments go. You don't know if it's going to be shorter or longer depending on how the games go. But about then, so just tune in the afternoon and evening on the 24th, and you'll see a lot of fun. We got like crazy game modes. We got a lot of podcasts, a lot of writers and casters involved. The whole thing's getting cast by Cavalier Guest, coach of GFE, Kala, the coach of Tempo Storm, and Bahamut, who is a Heroes Hype caster. So we're pretty excited for that. And we've got a little promo video to share with everyone too. Hopefully this will work as intended. So just sit back and enjoy this brief little video, guys.
Stimmed Bloodlust Archon is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Welcome to Creators of the Storm, a Heroes of the Storm tournament like no other. In this tournament, you'll see your favorite podcasters, writers, and content creators for Heroes of the Storm duke it out in a lighthearted tournament. We've got some great casters hosting the event. Coach of Gale Force Esports, Cavalier Guest, coach of Tempo Storm, Kala, and Heroes Hype caster, Bahamut. And in this tournament, nothing is out of bounds. Each game will have a special rule set. Horde versus the Alliance, all supports, Diablo versus StarCraft, and even the popular reverse draft, just to name a few. And if that's not enough, we'll have tons of giveaways for those who join us live on stream. Join us at twitch.tv/trollsgg on February 24th between 1 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or visit our website trolls.gg/COTS to find out more. Cool. So that's happening. So definitely check out twitch.tv/trollsgg on February 24th. There's going to be more information on the website again, trolls.gg/COTS, coming in the near future. And the one thing that we actually posted today, we've got t-shirts. We got swag you can buy for
socks too now.
Socks? Are
socks
you serious?
Today. Yeah.
Well, why don't you talk about it? Because clearly you know more about than I do.
So we have a graphic artist that's working with us. He did the logo. He's done a couple of shirts now. There's 3 shirts available to purchase on our website, and he just added a pair of socks. It'll be interesting to see how those come out. But we're excited about that. There's also some of the designs will be available in hoodies and different things. So definitely check it out. It's awesome stuff.
Cool. And this Creators of the Storm, we've got a bunch of new game modes that we're going to be introducing compared to the last time that we did it. We've got Peekaboo, which is going to be Fog of War off on a game, which is going to be nuts. You're going to be able to see everyone on the map the whole time, even in bushes. So there's going to be no gank bush parties. We got all Assassins games, so basically QM mode. We're going to have a Hyper Carry game, so you have to have only one assassin, and then no supports. So again, another
revamped
QM mode.
QM.
Yeah, exactly. All Assassins, no supports, basically QM modes.
It's QM.
Yeah, and then so next week we're going to be doing our preview show. So we're going to be going over like Creators of the Storm, what it's all about, all the different game modes, talking about strategy. We hope to have a guest on next week. We still have to confirm that, but still, it's going to be a lot of fun. So tune in next week for that. Last week too, we were doing the pre-tournament tour. Me and LiQuiud, we went on to Geeks of Azeroth podcast with Tarly Britza and Sleepy Gary and had a blast. A great podcast. They cover not only Heroes of the Storm, they cover all Blizzard games, Overwatch and Warcraft as well, notably. So if you're interested in checking that out, it's a great podcast. Give it a listen. Geeks of Azeroth, you can find it. They've got VODs and they've got things in places you usually find podcasts.
I feel bad because I failed on my social media game the early part of this week, so I didn't retweet or comment. But that being on that show was actually a ton of fun. We talked. They made the critical mistake of mentioning HGC to me, so there was a lot of HGC talk going on there. But yeah, definitely check it out. It was a good time.
Yeah, a good bunch of guys. Sleepy Gary and Tarly are going to be participating in Creators of the Storm. And Britta's actually going to be casting one of the games with Cavalier guests. So great set of guys. You'll get to meet them more personal on Creators of the Storm in a couple weeks. We had a small bug fix patch that dropped today. I saw it drop and I was like, oh, good, we got something to talk about on the show. Then I looked at the notes and it's just a bunch of little bug fixes. So not much worthwhile talking about unless there's anything that stood out to you guys. Is there anything you guys want to talk about on this patch?
All of that stuff needed to be done.
Yeah, super hardcore.
There were so many bugs and like teams were not happy playing on the existing patch right now. So
yeah,
I'm really glad they did that.
There's still a couple bugs out there that they need to fix. I'm hoping that we'll see another big hot fix, or there's going to be a next week when I'm sure there's probably going to be a balance patch next week that there'll be a lot more hot fixes that they're still attending to, especially with some of the newer characters.
Dude, I'm sorry. I got to go back for a minute. Dave asked for a link to the store, and I just put it in chat. Those socks look sick.
Do they?
They're the Creators of the Storm logo socks on gray. Oh, my God. They look awesome.
Is it unprofessional for all of us to take a minute to go check out how the socks
No, it's not. Go look at the socks. They look amazing.
Oh, God. I want a pair of these socks.
I didn't mean to derail us, but the socks actually came out really good.
You did. Job done. Cool.
They come in blue, man.
Oh no!
Blue? Are you kidding me?
No.
We're gonna single-handedly fund this tournament, the four of us, by buying our own stuff.
How many colors do they have?
4 colors: gray, pink, white, and blue.
You're missing green. Green's essential.
No, I looked. They didn't have green in stock. That's why.
So. Other than that, we're also growing again. Let LiQuiud talk about this.
So we have a bunch of positions out there. Basically, I am really busy, and I'm looking for people to help. So we have 8 positions open right now. Some manager type stuff, some coordinator type stuff, and then just like random stuff that we're looking for. My personal favorite is a guest booker. I definitely want someone that can coordinate trying to get guests on both shows all the time. And just make life easier for the rest of us. So definitely check that out, trolls.gg/join. We're even looking for more writers. We have a article coordinator that's going to help make sure our stuff is posted more consistently. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, I'm attuned to the notifications for that, so I've seen a couple applications come in already.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, LiQuiud, you know what time it is, right?
I do.
It's time for LiQuiud's Esports Corner. Cue the bumper.
Hey, yo, how you doing? It's time for LiQuiud's Esports Corner. That's right. And you're going to want to stick around for this.
Take it away, LiQuiud.
All right. So just a couple of things we're going to go over. One of those is Heroes of the Dorm started tonight. You can check that out on the main Blizz Heroes channel. Already mentioned that Haloran's out there casting. Along with Invernum, and Dunk Train right now. And I think there's one more that I'm going blank on. I know there is, but yeah, they're out there casting right now. Take a look. Go watch that after the show, of course.
Suddenly our viewership just plummets.
Dropped. Everyone's gone now.
Then also, Open Division finished Cup 3 yesterday for both NA and EU. It's becoming more challenging to watch all the Open Division since it's basically 14 hours on Monday and like 6.5 on Tuesday, but trying to keep up as best I can. Both NA and EU really competitive right now, although over in NA, it's pretty clear that SMV and XD are sitting at the top for now, although XD did get taken out this week. So it's getting a little more competitive at the top end, but EU even more so with Team Singularity and Manicore at the top, but Team Singularity ended up finishing 4th this week. So changes are coming in the Open Division. Taiwan, the Eastern Clash qualification tournament finished, and Bags and I couldn't get over this name last night, but Loli Meow. They defeated Soul Torturers 3-1. They are going to the Eastern Clash.
Soul Torturers actually lost.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
And Loli Meow looked actually really good. I don't speak a lick of Taiwanese, so it was hard for me to understand what the casters were saying, but the game looked solid, and they definitely looked good beating Soul Torturers.
Hasn't Soul Torturers been the representatives for Taiwan for like the last...
They have, yes.
For like, what is it, like the last three BlizzCons?
three or four. Well, the last 3 BlizzCons in like almost every international tournament, it's been Soul Torture.
Wow.
But what's interesting here is not only did they beat them like handily, and Soul Tortures at the last midseason brawl, so not as well at the at the last Eastern Clash actually did pretty well going into BlizzCon. So I expect some Chinese teams to be worried about Loli Meow. Over in Korea, we have KSV back, Ballistics Gaming, Tempest, and Blossom all qualified to go to the Eastern Clash. Third and fourth seeds up for grabs between KSV and Blossom. They're not playing this weekend, though. So if you thought you were going to watch Korean games this weekend before your normal EU and NA games, they will actually be next weekend because this weekend is the Korean New Year.
I'm more interested in the standings between the top 3 of them.
So here's my thing. Bags and I disagree. I've been on the Tempest hype train for a while, and they look solid right now. And he's like, no, KSV is still the best. I'm like, no, man.
Well, see, that was my thing. Is KSV. Did anybody really expect KSV to fall that far?
I did. I called Tempest beating them and won, and he had to wear a sign on his head that said Tempest. Because I was like, there's no way. Tempest is looking solid. KSV, no.
But I mean, I understand that like KSV Black is number 3 right now, but how badly they've been losing to Ballistic and in Tempest, and how great Tempest is showing. Like Tempest is handily beating everybody.
If you had asked me this at BlizzCon, I would have said no. KSV is the best in the world. And that's what Bags.
I disagree with you there even too. I would have said Ballistics probably was.
I don't think I would have said Ballistics. I think
Ballistics shows more consistency.
Yes.
Black is more bursty. They're either on or they're off. And right now they are off. But I think that's due to the meta though.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I don't know that the meta is going to shift enough in Eastern Clash for it to change. So I think we're still going to see Tempest win.
I want to see what Maev's going to do in actually competitive play. I think she's got a definite huge spot in it, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen with it.
Yeah, agreed. It'll be interesting to watch, right? That's what I can't wait to see. So, and then, all right, so over in EU, Dignitas stomped their way through the entire division. They have the number 1 seed. Fnatic and Method are qualified, but looking to see who's going to be second and third. The interesting thing is LiQuiD, Tricked, and Zealots all have a path through to get that 4th seed, and this weekend's going to tell us who's making it.
Who do you have money on? I want round robin. Who's going to take that 4th seed?
I want Zealots to take it. I think LiQuiD ends up doing it. The path for Zealots to get there is a lot harder. We went over – so last night on the show we had DB Smiley on. We went over all the paths to do it. Zealots has the hardest path, so I think just by that, LiQuiD takes it. But if LiQuiD – LiQuiD of the past 2 weeks doesn't show up and LiQuiD of the first 2 weeks shows up, Zealots wins. Yeah. I think Tricked is out. I know there are lovers out there, but I don't think Tricked is making it.
LiQuiD, how do you not like Team LiQuiD? It's like your name, except they spell it wrong. Is it because they spell it wrong? Do you have
No. You know why I don't like it? It's nothing about that. when the top 3 was Fnatic, Dig, and LiQuiud, I at that point was saying LiQuiud is not that good. Like they're an overhyped team. LiQuiud is the EU simplicity for me.
I can agree with that. I concur.
And everybody thinks everybody's like, what like simplicity is awesome. I'm like, no, dude, I hate simplicity.
Simplicity is just
Naventic 3.0.
I want new blood in. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm ready for new blood in NA.
Yes, and that's why I hate simplicity. Hey, you know what'd be great? Let's take all these old people that have been here for a while and let's just make a team around them. No, that's not how it works, man.
It's okay. They'll be in the Crucible.
Right, exactly. So EU will be interesting. You got to watch EU and NA games this weekend. All the games really matter. Over at NA, where it's like a complete disaster. So I think DB Smiley said there were 216 possibilities in EU. There are 1,296 possibilities in NA. That's how jacked up NA is right now. Like it's
Clown Fiesta. I mean, this is what we are known for.
So Tempo Storm is the only team qualified right now to go to Western Clash. Everything else is up for grabs. To the point that even Simplicity has a chance of getting to Western Clash.
Isn't that more exciting though?
Is it? No, Tempo Storm's the only one that's locked in, yeah?
Yeah. Tempo's the only locked in one. It is more exciting, Daz, because every game matters, yes. And I'm not complaining about that. Like, it's cool that it's like so clustered that like any team can go. But it's like so inconsistent that it hurts as an NA fan. So
my question is what does Tempo do against EU? Can they shut up or put up?
It's hard to tell. It depends which version of Tempo shows up. There are definitely versions of Tempo that will like get it done, and then there are versions of Tempo that not so much. Right? So it's take 50-50, take them, see what happens. I think EU wins Clash, and I think
Obviously.
we're setting.
Dignitas has got that
right
wrap to them.
Right. Like the odds on us taking Dignitas are like non-existent.
That would be like Roll20 taking games off of MVP Black and tying them in a series.
Nah. I think that was more likely to happen than what we're talking about here.
Probably.
Like it just realistically it was.
Or the 5-minute game against.
Right. Well, GFE tried to pull that off against Heroes Hearth. It didn't work out so well.
Of course not. It's GFE.
Right. So. Yeah. And then all right, so let's jump over to ANZ. We have the 8 teams for the ANZ Premier League, HCC Premier League, which is going to be Nomia, Outlaws Gaming, Crimson Gaming. Those were the 3 that were like longtime pro teams. Then we also got GG Go Next, Rich Gang, E-Thugs, Nico Mimi, QM Warriors, and Downfall Gaming. Q Trent saying, "I love amateur esports."
Yeah, it's amazing when you don't have a sponsor, how creative you can get with your names.
Right. Yeah, that's what we're getting here. So
I'm gonna just say Nomia's gonna take it.
They might. Also maybe a struggle because losing Arcaner and Robodope.
Yes. I was gonna say that might change things up, but I still think Nomia takes it.
Outlaws looks really good right now. But yeah, you're probably right. Nomia probably takes it.
And I'm just glad has their league started yet?
No. They just finished the qualifiers.
Okay.
So I think they're starting right after the Clash.
Okay.
Or they're starting February 26th. I don't remember. That's why I have the show notes.
Now, are they going to do exactly as many games as everyone else did and just rush them all through their games, or they're just going to do the standard, 3 games a week?
They're doing 8 weeks. They're doing 8 weeks of games and then playoffs. And they're starting February 26th.
Okay.
And they're ending. Oh, that makes sense. And then they're ending May 12th, which should lead into mid-season brawl.
Okay.
Yeah. 8 weeks. Yeah. That works out. Because mid-season brawl is supposed to then winner of that plays winner of the Latin American Copa Americana, and then that team gets to go to mid-season brawl plus 3 from I'm gonna just say NA now because we're not gonna win the Clash, and 4 from Europe. to be the 8-team Zid. Or no, I'm sorry. 3 from Europe, 2 from the US, or 2 from NA rather, and then 1 from either ANZ or
Latin America.
Latin America. Yeah. So
Cool. So is that the end of LiQuid's Esports Corner? Anything else you guys want to talk about?
yeah. Unless Shiz asks a question and we go off on a tangent.
I'm just talking, you know? Oh, man.
I know you guys
Called
could
out
talk
the chat,
forever.
too.
I was sitting there being like, do I cut them off here? There's a moment of silence.
There's a break. There's a break. Quick, go.
Should I jump on this?
Run with it.
But the Canadian me
You
was being
got me
polite.
talking about HGC. Come on.
Yeah.
That's what happens, man. Anytime I'm on any show, if they bring it up, it's like down the rabbit hole we go.
Well, it's the same with me. And Daz already knew this going into this, that's exactly where it was going to come.
I knew this was expanding out the Esports Corner for the day by bringing Shiz along. That's quite all right. That's what we brought you here for. But you know what? Let's move along to the Maiev Nerf, because late last week we got a balancing of Maiev, a Nerf to her. She was 65% on release win rate. We talked about that last week, and we knew there was something coming, and it came pretty quick. She's back down to a quote-unquote balanced 54% win rate. She's been creeping up a little bit, so it seems that as people are getting better at playing her, the win rate's starting to go back up. So she's probably, I'd say, in line for maybe another small nerf coming along, but she got hit pretty hard.
They won't nerf her again. Not until after the clashes.
Well,
yes,
I think they're going to eventually. I'm not saying like tomorrow or anything, but still, like, you know, 54% win rate trending upwards. That and the way that she's been playing, she's still been getting banned a lot. I could see her getting banned a little.
Well, yeah,
nerfed
I mean,
a little bit.
everyone's still in the hype train that she's stupid OP and that she hasn't had any nerfs though.
And not to mention,
half your player, I would say, how many people actually go through and read the patch notes that aren't super serious about the game? So
bans always lag behind a couple weeks, it seems, from reality sometimes, and I guess that's kind of where we're sticking. But I'm gonna go over what happened to Maiev. Actually, you know what, Mystic, why don't you go over what happened to Maiev, because Shiz has been a mic hog and been taking away all your mic time today.
All right. Okay, so we have basic attack damage reduced by 7.5%. We have base maximum health and health regen reduced, I believe, by 4%.
It was increased by 4% because she lost her armor.
Yeah, right. Oh, right. I was thinking of something else. Okay, yeah, so it was increased because she lost her armor on Vault of the Wardens. And her Fan of Knives damage was decreased by 5.5%. And then some of her talent changes, we have level 1, Nicious Memento. Bounces no longer deal bonus damage. And level 16, the Armored Assault. Talent, physical damage bonus decreased from 35% to 25%. And now activates if Maiev has any bonus armor, because they took away her armor.
She didn't need that armor, man.
No, she does need that armor. All right,
she needs the armor. She doesn't need the high health pool.
Maiev, she needs the armor. All right. Murky still needs buffs too. Let's not go down that road.
So this makes a big difference, because I mean, just losing the armor, even though she got the health buff, the fact that healing is now a lot less efficient on her makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not only that, it's because she lost, like, if you translate her armor to health, she lost about 210 or something health, or 215 health, and she only gained like 90 or so health. So that's a pretty big loss of HP just right there. Not to mention that, you know, because the removal of the armor, healing is less effective.
And these aren't small damage nerfs. Like basic attack damage down 7.5%, and Fan of Knives, like the spammable Q, down 5.5%. That's a pretty heavy-handed one. I mean, it needed to be, but still, like, what do you guys feel about Maiev now? Do you feel like she's balanced, or do you think she does need a little bit of a tapping back down to reality still?
Unbiasedly, I think she's in a decent spot. I just think that people don't know how to play against her yet.
I would agree. I would totally agree with that. I think she's where she needs to be now.
Mm-hmm. I think people just don't understand that she has dive potential, and she can lock people down when she dives. And as long as she's got a healer, you know, she's very, very sustainable in a lot of ways, especially in the later parts of the game. And her ults are game changing.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things. I mean, it's like it's an ETC. It's an assassin ETC is the best way of saying it.
Yeah. That's why she needed to lose the armor. Because with the armor, she was actually better than a lot of tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Like, it had to
damage
happen.
output. Holy, she
Well, that
had
was
like
the problem.
1v3 or 4 a team. Like
She 1v5'd. I mean, I don't know if you just saw today, Rich didn't take any talents all the way up to level 22 on a Towers of Tomb game and Spiders.
Yeah, it was Spider
And,
Queen, right?
Yeah. And was still carrying the entire team.
Yeah.
But it's Rich, though, of all things. So
But that's what makes me interested to see what happens when she's live in HGC. Which
Mhm.
we may see because they pushed the Korean games back to the 23rd. We may actually see Maiev before the Clash.
But any patch notes that they release before the Clash, they're not going to be viable for the actual Clash because they're going to have to wait until after those games, and they always have a two-week
23rd
delay.
maybe. But the nerfs that came out today are valid for the Clash because the Clash is on the 2nd. The first Clash is on the 2nd.
well, the nerfs came out late last week.
Well, yeah. So
the nerfs
these
came out late last week, and then the bug fix had to be released today, so that
Correct,
it was out
yeah.
in enough time for the Western Clash and the Eastern Clash. Because the Western Clash is the 2nd. Yeah, it starts on the 2nd. So
Well-
that's why the bugs were fixed today.
That's why I'm saying there's going to be no more, at least
right.
for the Clash.
Yeah,
There's going to be
right.
no more nerfs to Maiev. So whatever Maiev is now, that's
Is
what we're
what
going
she
to see in the
has,
Clash.
yeah.
And I don't think they're going to touch Maiev until after the Clash, and they've got enough information on
Right.
how
The
destructive
earliest,
she is in competitive play.
the earliest she'll be patched again is the 20th of March.
So do you guys think she's going to be destructive in competitive play because she's got quite the
Absolutely,
kit?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%,
She's gonna be. She's gonna be just like the best way I can describe it is remember Greymane on initial release.
Yes, that's a great
That's
way to
exactly
describe.
how she's gonna be.
Yeah.
She's gonna be just like Greymane, and then they're gonna probably do something where they're gonna have to change up her whole kit because she's just too good. She's gonna have a spot in the meta regardless. Every ability she had, like her basic abilities are game changing. Her trait is crazy stupid good. Her ults are game changing. She's got pretty much a single point Maiev, and then she's got a Mosh, and it's dumb. It's stupid good. So they could nerf her health, nerf her damage, but all of her kit is game changing and just it screams, let me set up combo wombos all day long, everything about her.
Yeah.
So she's the new Greymane. And they're just going to completely, or the new KT. She's just going to keep getting number tweaks all over the place until they finally figure something out.
Yeah, well, I suspect will end up happening, and is that especially if she does come out as overpowered as like you guys are saying in competitive, that she'll get tuned down, kind of like Genji has been. Like pretty frequently over the past few months, to the point where the win rate's going to be pretty low in just regular play, but he's still going to be viable she's still going to be viable and competitive because of what she brings to the table, kind of like a Maiev almost, right? Like Maiev, is notoriously one of the lowest win rates in the game, but he can still be played in competitive because he thrives in a coordinated environment. And I imagine that's what you're going to get with a Maiev. It's going to be to the point where like you can only really get what you need to get out of her if you're like a pro player, and it's like a kind of a pro pick more than, or like someone who's been playing a lot of Maiev are the only people that are going to be able to advance with her, as opposed to just sitting there and pressing Q all day and just blowing up the whole team. Because while fun being Maiev, it kind of sucked playing against her.
Well, it's supposed to suck playing against her. Like it's supposed to suck playing against Valera, but instead we nerfed Valera into the ground.
Still not letting that go.
Nope,
LiQuiuD.
never.
No, I mean the same thing what they did with there's a lot of heroes that they could make competitive, but I think Blizzard just doesn't want to make them competitive. I.e., for example, Murky. Murky was very competitive at one point, and he really didn't need a numbers nerf, but they nerfed him into the ground because people just cried and they just said it was no fun. So now I think Blizzard isn't going to make every hero viable. I just think that's what it's going to be. Yeah. So, I mean, it sucks because there's heroes that are completely 100% viable, like for example Valera, but because people complain and they say they're cancer, they're just going to get nerfed into the ground. I would expect Genji at some point to get a complete rework on his stuff, or they completely change up him somehow where he's not really as viable. They'll make a whole new Genji and it's not even the original Genji. I see the same thing. Well, I don't think it'll happen to Hanzo. I think Hanzo's safe for the most part, but I mean, I expect it to happen.
They never really like they do reworks for like talent trees and everything, but it's very rare that they change something like game changing on a hero's kit though. Like I can't imagine they're going to take, you know, the blade dash away from Genji or the deflect.
You know, but I mean Greymaine's the perfect example of how they've changed kits. Greymane initially when he first came out was pure cocktail build, right? And it was stupid good.
But then you're talking
they
about talent tree more than.
But then they turned around and redid the entire talent tree where cocktail build wasn't viable at all. It was pure Worgen form and a dive. Then they said, all right, we'll scrap that, and then redid it again, and now it's just a cocktail build. And now they're just like, scrap that again. Let's, balance it out and make it, whatever.
Yeah, sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you meant like change like the basic abilities, like QWE, make them do different things.
No, what they'll do is they'll shorten the distance that his what is it? Is E?
Yep.
That
Swift strike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Swift strike. That the distance on that'll get reduced. They'll probably put in where it can't go over terrain. I can see that wholeheartedly coming in. They'll probably put a talent in where it says it can go over terrain. I can see a lot of things where they say his D can't go over terrain because I mean everything that Genji does or everything that Hanzo kind of does, Genji does a little bit better, at least with the abilities, because they're so similar that something has to make Hanzo better than Genji in their abilities, unless they're just going to be like, fine, two heroes have the same abilities, but one's obviously clearly better.
They're brothers, right? It's okay to be like somewhat similar. They'll fill a little bit different niches. I mean, as Hanzo, you're not mobile enough to easily access the backline with like a movement ability, right? So
that's why I said one's obviously better than the other.
Yep. Well, I mean, either way, I think it's pretty safe to say that, we all think, at least you guys have definitely convinced me that Maiev is going to be strong and competitive, and changes are likely going to come, even though, maybe not necessarily soon because of LiQuiud's tinfoil hat theories with, making sure that everything stays nice and stable for the clashes. We do have some listener questions, and I've got a bumper that I haven't been able to use in a while, so I'm going to play that now.
Hello, is this the Nexus Trolls? You guys are hilarious.
The original version of that was Christopher Walken doing Shiz is hilarious, but Shiz left the show, so we had to edit that one out just to the Nexus Trolls being hilarious. But anyways, we do have some listener questions we're going to go over today. There was a whole bunch. I put a call out for them just in Discord, and we actually got quite a few. So sorry if we didn't get to yours. We might save it for a future week. But the first one comes from Zapster. It was pretty simple. What happened to Vala? And Mabel's. I know.
Hanzo, baby.
I know.
Hanzo, Genji, Tracer, just so many heroes that are just do everything that she does, but better.
Well, until Hanzo dropped, though, you were still seeing Vala get played.
No, not really. Because once they nerfed her Hungering Arrow build, she completely dropped out of the meta. Because you had things like Greymane. You had Genji.
On specific maps. I mean, yeah. But go ahead.
I mean, just there's too many heroes that just do everything that Vala does, but better, and they just do it better. And I mean, Hanzo absolutely just 100% replaces Vala. Vala's got to get a whole brand new rework now.
So, Mystic, what do you think they're going to do to Vala to maybe bring her back in? Because, if she is falling out, that's likely what they are going to do, right?
I think similar to what LiQuiud and Shiz said, like, kind of redesign her role. They don't have to, like, give her a new kit entirely. They could just change, like, her role. So, imagine if you change Vala so you could give her more health or something, so that she's like, more health and more survivable than Hanzo. Then she could potentially have a place where she's, tankier. but she does like not as much damage or like doesn't have as much range, there she'd have a place. But in short of doing that, I think, yeah, Hanzo kind of just replaces her.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly, and the only reason I say that is she's going to become the new Rainer.
Yeah,
There's no, like, it's good, you could pick them and it's viable, but I mean, there's just so many better choices that can fill that role. And so I don't think it's a numbers game or anything unless they give her stupid, crazy amounts of damage. But she's the new Rainer, and she'll stay where she is, and she'll get busted out every here and there. I know the Koreans love their Vala. They've always been diehard Vala fans, so you'll see her pop up there.
Even Korea's playing her less now.
Well, yeah, they are. Yeah, but I'm just saying they were the only ones that did.
Right.
I mean, as soon as the nerfs came in, NA and EU were like bye-bye, and then I think it was China or the Chinese and Korea still played her, and I think she still played in Chinese, but everyone else has pretty much dropped her off.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because China like blew through their game so fast, and they haven't played in like 3 weeks now.
So yeah, she's the new Rainer. That's essentially what happened. There's too many people that do what she does but better.
Yeah.
What if you gave her like 2 charges of vault, or made her vault a little bit longer or something like that too? Mobility
but it's not that. It's
you're
not
just making her a Genji then.
Yeah.
Now she's a Genji.
And her damage numbers aren't really high enough to contribute at this point.
She needs a full rework now. She's without a rework, she's the new Rainer of just range assassins. You can pick her and she's viable, but there's always somebody that could do the role that you're trying to do better.
Yeah.
I guess even BOE, it's not like she's not the fastest one to shred the immortal anymore.
No, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like she has no niche anymore either. It's just
if you need poke, you go Lunara. Lunara's way better at the poke game, and she does the same amount of damage that Vala can do. And I would arguably say that Lunara's ults are better. If you need somebody who's going to do burst damage, there are a ton. Greymane, I mean, a Hanzo, I mean, Genji, just for the sheer fact of what those guys bring to the table.
And I think you calling her the Rainer, the like current day Rainer, is actually pretty damn perfect.
Poor Rainer.
Well, that means now Rainer's been nerfed into oblivion, right?
Hey, I actually like Rainer.
No, I honestly expect I want to say, you probably quote me on this, in the next 2 months, Rainer will get a massive rework.
I'd be surprised, just because like he's kind of like the introductory hero to the game, like you move and shoot, and you've got like one ability or two that you've got to worry about.
But
you can still rework him that way. Yeah,
you could keep his kit the same. Just they're gonna rework his entire talent tree. Everything on his kit will stay the same. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be a full rework in the talent tree. It'll be just like Li. Like Li is like the base healer. Like your go-to, you roll. Like, I mean, how many pros did you see just take their keyboard and roll it against their head and put up god numbers? I mean, like they gave Li a full rework, and I mean, it's very, very viable that Rainer's going to get it, and he's overdue. Him and Chen.
Yeah.
Have they ever given Rainer like a significant rework since like beta? Since I started playing, I don't believe they have.
No, they haven't. They've
done small tweaks.
Talents. Yeah,
like give more like the cooldown recently on his stim pack or whatever you call it, where he gets the boost of healing that was reduced. Like small things like that. But I don't think he's been in.
They might have smoothed some talents here and there, but it was like very, very small. But he hasn't got like the reworks that like we all know and love, and then either love or hate on Tuesday.
So the next question, and I hate to open this can of worms because it's an HGC one, but Snazzle asks, what NA teams are underperforming, and do you expect to do better later in the season? So I'm assuming this is like post-Clash.
I mean, that sucks because I can't say Simplicity because I expect them to continue to suck. I think LFM is going to improve. I think, no, Space Station Gaming.
That's who I was going to say.
100% Space Station Gaming.
I think, and honestly, so right now, the top 3 teams are Tempo Storm, Freedom, and 12. I don't think that's going to happen. I think right now, what was it? Who do you expect to do better later in the season? I expect Heroes Hearth to do better than what their current standings are.
Yeah.
And I expect Space Station Gaming to at least go to the middle of the pack. If you're going to ask me who my Crucible targets are, I would honestly say it's going to be LFM Esports, 100%, and probably Simplicity. And the bottom teams, the bottom 2 teams that are going to be vying for that 5th and 6th spot, Gale Force, and probably I would put 3 teams in there. Well, I can't put Team 12 in there, but they have been severely under.
Team 12 is going to fix their shit.
They're going to be a 4 or 5 team. I don't think so. I 100%. I don't think they have ever since Glaurung left. I mean, their drafts have been kind of a little bit wonky. I mean, their play styles, it's not what we were known to know. And I mean, I know they have Kier, and they're putting on Kier not even on his best heroes. They're putting him on a like the bruiser role, and that's not what Kier's known for. And Goku's playing the carry role.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense. Why is that happening? Goku's like one of the best bruiser off laner, solar laners, and now you're gonna put him on the carry?
I'll tell you why. Because they still haven't found a coach, even though they're pseudo looking for one.
I don't even think they have a true shot caller that really does it, because Glaurung was their shot caller, and now that
Glaurung hadn't been shot calling for the last 4 months of last season.
He was or was not?
Was not. Justin was doing all the shot calling back then. Yeah.
I don't know. His shot calling's been way off. They've been taking some really risky and stupid fights.
I will agree with a lot of what you said. I think Heroes Hearth will move their way up the standings clearly.
They're a 3-4 team. I think Team 12 is going to be anywhere from 3 to 5, depending on their status. Gale Force will stay exactly where they are. And then I think Space Station Gaming is going to be a 5th or 6th team. And then Simplicity is going to be a 7th or 6th team.
Space Station Gaming, if they continue to work their shit out, will replace Gale Force.
You think Gale Force is going to tank that bad?
I think Space Station Gaming has the ability to be that good that they'll hit 4th, and then they'll make some changes after midseason brawl when the rosters unlock. I expect to see them make changes on the team.
Do you expect Udall to be there in Akaface?
On GFE? No, GFE is not going to make changes. GFE is going to double down on their roster. I think Space Station's going to make changes. I think if GFE makes a change, it'll be Big E or it'll be B-Kid that leaves. Udall, Akka, and Fury stay.
Even though Udall wanted to retire?
Doesn't matter. The 3 of them
matter.
Udall's the fucking face of GFE. They would throw money at him.
He was the captain, and he totally came out and was like, I'm retiring. And the only reason that Gale Force still holds its spot is because they begged Udall to come back out of retirement so they can keep their team and their spot.
Well, and the reality is, come midseason brawl, they can fucking get rid of all 5 of them.
Well, you're absolutely right. That's why I'm wondering why you think that, Udall's still going to be around after he so wanted to retire.
Because GFE really does, no matter what else happened, GFE believes in Udall being the face of the organization. Blizzard believes in Udall being the face of Heroes until Dorm is done and they have a new face. And that doesn't help GFE. But it'll be interesting.
I'm still so salty about Udall and Heroes of the Dorm.
I'm still salty about Fury getting booted from GFE last year, so.
Okay, see this can of worms? I'm going to put the cap back on it. Yeah, just quickly to cap this off then. Who are your picks for going to BlizzCon, LiQuiud and Shiz?
Oh, BlizzCon or midseason brawl?
BlizzCon. I'm talking long term here because
I have
that's more
no
of
idea.
the questions asking.
I'm not even gonna guess. I have no idea. And here's why I say that. This is not a cop out. It's that there's a trade period. No, there's a trade period after midseason brawl. We don't know what teams are gonna do what. And now that the team owns the spot, not the players, we have no idea. It's very possible that someone like Simplicity or LFM or any team on this sheet currently, except for Team 12, could boot all 5 players and replace all 5 players. It's absolutely
not
possible.
A binding legal document. I'm just asking an easy question.
100% going to BlizzCon. I can say that with the guaranteed fact.
Who's that?
Tempo Storm is going to BlizzCon.
All right.
Dude,
okay.
See, that's a proper response.
No way.
Okay, let me ask you this. Currently, the way
Hearth.
Tempo Storm is playing right
Heroes
now,
Hearth
who do you get rid of off that roster? Who would you move around?
Who would I move around? All right,
Yeah.
hold on. I can tell you exactly who I'd move around. I would
Why
drop
I asked
Psalm
a
and
follow-up
Caterpillar.
question, Mystic? Why'd I do
Why,
that?
why would you open yourself up, Daz? You know better.
It
I
was
would
supposed
drop.
to be a quick like bang, bang, bang.
I would drop Caterpillar and I would drop Psalm and I would get.
Are you kidding me, Psalm?
Yes, I would totally drop Psalm. Here's why.
Who would you pick up then?
Well, so that's what I was just thinking. I was just gonna try and figure out. Okay, so here's who I would pick up. And this is crazy, and I know this is crazy, and y'all can think I'm fucking nuts, but I would pick Shrita up to replace Psalm, and I would totally replace Caterpillar. I would try to get GFE to let me have Fury back.
No.
Or I would take Justin off of Team 12 and replace Caterpillar. 100%.
Justin is the best tank in NA, but I don't. But that's not a trade that's willing to happen. But
No,
anyways,
right.
even if those trades did happen, how can you not say that Tempo Storm is not gonna be a BlizzCon in the BlizzCon?
Because Tempo Storm's gonna double down on keeping Fan and Glaurung, and the two of them are gonna come to blows. And
No, I absolutely don't think so at all.
that's fine. You asked me what I thought. I'm telling you what I think.
I don't think they'll come to blows.
If I have to pick it, well, maybe not blows, okay. But if
I understand what you're saying. I don't think that there's going to be internal drama. I don't think so. Maybe after BlizzCon, they'll go their own ways. But before BlizzCon, Tempo Storm will be there.
Right.
And I'll even bet more peppers on it.
But you won't even.
I'll take that bet right now. I am 100% certain Tempo Storm
bet that.
is going to BlizzCon.
I won't bet that because I know things will be weird. But I will say Heroes Hearth is making it to BlizzCon.
I can see that. I think there's a couple of other spots that. So Heroes Hearth Esports, I think has a very viable spot. Team Freedom, and Team 12. I can't say which one out of those three will take the second spot because we're not going to get the third seed. We don't get the third seed.
Yeah.
It only goes to the winner of the Eastern Clash.
Or Western Clash, but yeah.
So that means that EU's going to get it. We're not going to get it.
Yep.
So, I mean, if we had the three spots and we somehow won it, I would say Heroes Hearth and probably Team Freedom.
You know what? I can agree with what he just said.
Oh.
That is saying betting on mid-season brawl makes way more sense.
But this is more exciting, right? Well, I'm trying to answer poor Snazzle's question here.
Snazzle didn't say anything about BlizzCon.
He didn't say anything about BlizzCon, but he's asking later in the season, which you gotta assume would be.
The season is after the Clash, going into mid-season brawl.
Oh my god! Okay.
I'm only looking at the rosters that are going to trade up and that aren't going to trade down. The only rosters that can trade up, honestly, and they can't trade down in any way, in my opinion, unless they're just absolutely dumb, is Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm can only trade up. Yeah, you're right. They could get rid of Caterpillar and they could pick up Justin. I don't think it's going to happen because I think there was some internal drama between Justin, who's their healer, Buds, and how Glaurung. I think Glaurung is a very competitive player, and all he wants to do is practice and be the best. That's why I don't think there's going to be a problem with Fan because Fan's the same way. Fan is super competitive and driven. I think those two are going to stick together very, very well. That's why I think Glaurung moving to Tempo Storm is good because all of those players are driven to be the best and go to BlizzCon and see how far they can go.
Plus, it's his roommate, so I mean.
Yes, I understand that, but I mean, and then I look at Team 12, and all I want to just stream is memes. Like honestly, that's what that team says to me.
Fair enough.
Okay, moving along.
Are you gonna try and cover that can up again?
I am, and I'm not gonna say just to cap this one off. I'm gonna ask a quick follow-up. God, that was a mistake. God, I should know better. 67 episodes later, you think I'd know better? Okay, so Gen S, because we won't say last names.
I want to rub a little more salt in that. I created a specific show because you knew better.
This is true. Maybe you should get Shiz on that show. You'll have 3 hours.
You invited me on this channel, and I follow esports like like crazy. Come on.
Yeah. So Gen S asked, what's the best strategy on Volskaya now the Protector has been buffed? So I
think Mystic should take that.
I think Mystic should take that as well. So let's say you are fresh off the objective and you get that Protector Mystic. What should you be doing with it? I feel like it's still a little bit less of a known as, say, like, a dragon or a garden terror, what to do with them. So what's the best thing that you do if you've got that first Protector? And maybe we can talk about late game Protectors as well.
Well, you grab the protector, put 2 people in it.
You don't leave it there.
Yeah, you don't leave it there. You put
Wait,
2 people
really?
in it.
You don't leave it there like we saw this weekend on HGC? Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Okay. Well, you put 2 people in it. You clear out the minion waves and have your minions push up so the towers aren't hitting your protector. Just have the gunner just blast away at all the enemy heroes, and then just auto attack the towers and buildings with your protector. And make sure to use your Q from the driver's seat on the buildings because it does extra damage. And if you really want to catch someone out, the root on the protector is actually really, really good. It's almost like a Punisher stun now if you get hit with it. So it's quite insane. So if you see that protector on the enemy team, try not to get hit with that root.
And that root clears minions too, instantaneously when you throw it through them. It's something that a lot of people have to realize.
To cap on that, I think the biggest thing that people probably do wrong on Volskaya with the protector is once you have it, a lot of people that hop into it are your siegers, and you don't want your siegers in there. You need your siegers to be out of it. So sometimes that means putting your healer inside. You can hop out of it and hop back in. So I think that's the biggest misconception because people think of it like the dragon on Dragonshire. Once you're in it, you're in it. You can't get out. So sometimes, because it's so beefy, you could put your tank and your healer inside there in the same situation and push. I mean, I'm not saying you should do that 100% of the time, but I'm saying that's viable with this because the protector's so beefy now. He can take those shots and he can peel. He can do all of those things, put out the damage while your team sieges.
Yeah.
In early game 1-2, I would definitely 4-man it. I would not put all 5 people down the same lane. Have your offlaner go to the offlane and soak that and get that massive XP. If you've got another good pusher, put your pusher in that lane. Gul'dan's great for it. Lunara, anybody that can siege really well and poke. Li Ming, your mages, don't put your mages inside there. That's the biggest problem I see is like your siegers get inside there, and now you've just lost a majority of your sieging potential, and now your protector dies super quick and easy.
So do you guys, for the first protector too, especially when it's a little bit earlier game, not as strong, do you do the old Dragonshire route and you hit down just like the tower, like the towers and the gate, and then you move along to the next lane, or do you try and push one lane hard and go for the fort?
I think the middle lane is probably the best lane to push. The reason I say that is it gives you a gateway into both of their camps. All the lanes are, for the most, bottom lane's the furthest away. So if we're looking at it from a Dragonshire perspective, that's probably the last lane you want to push because the lanes are so long. Then I would probably prioritize top next because then that gives you you can get all 3 top camps. You can push in on that side of the map and you control all of that vision. And with the bottom lane, there's a lot of, what do they call it? The belts. And that just screws up fights so much the minute a fight breaks down on any of those. So push the lanes that for certainty you can push. You've got 3 camps top, the healing and the 2 mercs. Now you've essentially taken that vision away from your team or your opponent's team, and now you can do more. I think the bottom lanes should be the least pushed, but it's the most pushed for whatever reason.
So, Mystic, you mentioned clearing out the minion waves before heading in. I feel like that's not necessarily something that you need to do with some of the other objectives, but you feel like it's more important with a Triglav Protector to make sure that the shots are being fired on the minions, not the Protector itself?
Yeah, I believe that is the case because the Protector actually has a lot of damage on it and a lot of sieging potential, but, even after they buffed it, it's not like the most tankiest thing in the world. So, I mean, it is a lot tankier now, but because you have the minions push, and tank those shots instead of the protector, then you can get more time in it, more damage output, and it's just a lot better because you get a lot more value out of it. Cool. The other objectives, I'd say it's more similar to the other objectives as well because like the Dragon Knight, you don't want to be just like tanking a lot of shots anyway, so just spamming the Flame Breath is actually really good because it actually does okay siege damage and it does quite a bit of AoE hero damage as well. And so you could just use that instead of just tanking like all the shots and being like a Punisher and jumping over the walls. That'd be pretty bad.
Yeah, if you're tanking as the Dragon Knight too, you lose your attack speed. Whereas I guess it's not as much of a concern with the Triglav Protector because your gunner seat right, doesn't get affected by the attack speed decrease. I'm assuming your auto attacks too in the driver's seat, but
yeah. Well, the other thing I'd point out is to go along with Mystic's point about kill the minions. You should be doing that with a dragon too. If nothing else, you should be at least laying down your first flame breath on the minion wave so that your minions can take out that minion wave and then come assist you. Like, it's such an easy thing. And if you watch pro games, they usually take 1 or 2 swipes at the minion wave when they first come out of there on their way to the wall. They also throw it on their fire breath because of that same reason. When the minions push in, they're taking the shots, not the dragon.
I guess it's a pretty common problem that you see too is people are in a rush to get places, but you do have quite a bit of time, especially later in the game too, that just to like walk around, pick your spots, maybe clear out those waves before you start sieging up. Sometimes I guess you are in a rush if you just got a wipe and then that's why you got the objective, but still.
And you'd be surprised how often I see people, and not just in my games but replays or on Twitch, don't put the dragon in the middle so you're taking cannon fire from both cannons. Pick a side. And it's the same is true with the protector. Pick a side, man. You don't need double cannon shots on you.
That's the way some people roll though, LiQuiuD.
Yeah. Oh, let me die faster. Woo!
All right, let's move on to the next question. I thought this was an interesting one. This one actually got a few weeks ago. Juiced, I guess, or maybe Juice D. If the game was 6v6 instead of 5v5, how do you think team comps would change? Let's go to Mystic first on this one too. Like, what would you do with that extra slot? Like, how would you mold your new team? Because oftentimes you're like, well, we don't have a spot for that specialist because we have this other core 5 or whatever, right? Or like sometimes I like playing Maiev a lot, and just in general games, like people are like, oh, you don't want to play Maiev, then we'll be lacking damage, but maybe you can slot him as that 6th slot, right? What do you think the 6th slot would be, or would that just change like the whole 6 as a whole because you've got a new dynamic here?
A little of both. I think that if it was changed to 6-on-6, I personally think that 2 of your 6 have to be tanks, because one tank is going to get blown up instantly if it's taking damage from 4 people, and so if you have 2, you can round that out a lot better. You can protect each other a lot better, and then I think 1 healer is still okay. You can actually run double support if you want, and then you just have the 2 damage after that. As far as just the map goes, I think it'll be a lot more chaotic, just because there'll be a lot more fighting, that's for sure. Like, if you're going to a lane, there's not really going to be a lane that's just like, oh, it's empty, I'm just going to push it now. There's always going to be someone in that lane, whether it's 1 or like 4. There's always going to be someone in that lane to contest you. Like, so there's going to be a lot less of just, hey, Sylvanas is pushing that top lane by herself and we don't have anybody like in range to stop her. No, it's not going to be like that anymore. It's going to be, oh, Sylvanas is pushing that top lane, but we already have someone there to stop her.
What do you think?
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Like I was going to say, what do you think, Shiz? But we can go to LiQuiuD first.
Triple double, baby. You're going to see 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 carries. Bring it.
Yep. I feel the same way. You need double warrior, but you also need double support now, because if somebody decides to go, we'll just say, 1 tank, 1 healer, and a crap load of burst DPS, you need a way to deal with it. So
I don't even think 2 healers saves you at that point.
I think it would with a double warrior though, because you have the kills, you have the disruption, and then you have the double healers. I think what you would end up seeing more than like a true double healers is you'll see a huge priority in heroes like Maiev. I think Maiev would become staple meta overnight. I think anyone who Tassadar, staple meta overnight. Zarya, yep. Any of those healers that like can like pseudo fill like that and put out deeps, that's going to be your second healer. So you're going to have your hardcore DPS, and then you're going to have like the hybrids, and then the same thing with your tanks. You're going to have your hardcore tank, and then you're going to have a hybrid or double tank. It doesn't matter, but you're going to have a very beefy front line, and you're going to have very good tanks that can deal one with the burst and one with the sustain.
Yeah. Now, would specialists become obsolete because you have more people in every lane?
Absolutely.
They already are. So.
Well, even more so, because I mean, there's the argument to be made. You got the extra slot, you can maybe put a specialist in there. But now that you've got more lane coverage, it might be a bit more of an issue to sit there like Mystic saying that you just don't have the empty lanes as often.
So, like, to give you an example, right? So, Asmodan just became useless because now you have somebody in a lane every time, and you've got 2 people in there. So if you have a wave clear team, Asmodan does absolutely nothing in the sieging potential. You've also now got Nazeebo would still be meta in that niche role for the very late games. Zagara thrives in a 1v1. You just took that away from her. So now, I mean, she's good in the 4-man rotation. So, I mean, she might, but there's just no point now, in my opinion. There's heroes that can probably do her role better now. What other specialists? You've got Maiev, that's considered a specialist for some reason. So he'll be hardcore contested. Abathur, I think you might see Abathur. I think Abathur probably will still stay. But I mean, it's just going to be an Abathur and Maiev. That's pretty much it. And then every time you see anyone else, it's like, holy crap, they actually picked that person.
In terms of lane assignments, how do you think it would work? Is like, would the
2-2-2? It would be a 2-2-2 in a 3-lane map.
Or I was going to say like a 2-4 with a rotation of a 4-man.
No, well, it depends. On a smaller map like Tomb, I could see you doing a 4-2.
Yeah.
But solo laners would probably be obsolete, so maybe you're losing advantage of something like a Dahaka as well.
No, I don't think so. I think you'll still have it where you can roam as 5 if you have somebody who can wave clear extraordinarily well. Like there's like, for example, like the only time I would see Zagara's would be viable is if you want Zagara to stick in that lane, and that's it. And then you have 5 people just rotate, because Zagara can fend off 2 people by herself, and she's fine. You know, as long as you know that whole gank doesn't come down and destroy her. You know, so there's that. And then you just roam as 5. So heroes that can deal with the 2 people in the lane and still wave clear it fast enough and not lose so hard, they're viable. But I think on 3-lane maps it would be a 2-2-2 or at least a 2-1-3, and you have a 3-man roam squad or whatever it would be. So I mean,
definitely be interesting. It's too bad we don't have that where we can put an extra slot in our sandbox games to try it out. Yeah. We've played some 4v4s and customs just because we've only had 8 people in some after show games, which has led to some interesting interactions too, because like, who do you take out in those cases, right? Usually ends up, I think, being the off tank. Usually you got like a tank healer. So I guess, sorry, no, it'd be like the second assassin. Usually a tank, like an off tank healer, and then like a ranged DPS or something along those lines. And that's what we were kind of rolling with 4v4. Okay, let's go on.
I think 6v6 would also lead to a 4-lane map, though.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, eh? I mean, I doubt that we'll ever see something along those lines, but it would be kind of neat to see, especially like even a smaller 4-lane map, like a Tombless Spider Queen size, but just like add an extra lane.
I'm gonna say something here. So in League, they have this like rotating game mode where it's like a special game mode, right? It's kind of like the brawls. And so one of them was actually they took the smallest map that they had and they put it in 6v6. So it was just a big cluster team fight, everybody for themselves, kind of just, everybody's just throwing everything.
Was it fun?
It was fun, but then eventually, when you play in that mode for enough time, people start to go, oh, these are the heroes that are really good. And the heroes that are really good tended to be like the reset heroes, and the AoE heroes, stuff like that.
People are just finding that out, that reset heroes are good.
Well, in a 6v6, it's just much better.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I mean, they're boss status no matter where you are. I mean, it could be a 4v4 and they're still boss. They reset.
Yeah, that's true. They do reset.
But yeah, having that extra man to spread those Kael'thas living bombs or whatever too, I can see why the AoE things would kind of get crazy. Let's move on to the last question though, so we can round out the show. Ogre in Discord again asked us, will any of you be... This one is probably for LiQuiuD and Chiz, because I don't think myself and Mystic play all that much World of Warcraft, but will any of you be taking part in Battle for Azeroth the latest WoW expansion that's coming out shortly? And if so, any race class combinations that are sparking the interest to play again?
So I already pre-ordered it. The good the
you get a
deluxe
mount,
or
right?
whatever. Yeah,
Got
so I
your
have the
boost.
mount. I have the mount. I have my free 110 boost. I'm working on unlocking Nightborn, but I won't be playing it. But I'm still working on unlocking it because it's kind of cool. I might move my rogue to it, but probably not. I love Void Elves, but that's Alliance, and Alliance sucks. So I'll probably I know I'll be sticking to my Blood Elf Demon Hunter through at least currently that's my plan. I may switch to I tank in WoW, so I might switch to my Paladin. If I go Warrior, I guess potentially I'd do Nightborn, but I'm probably gonna stick to my Blood Elf Paladin or Demon Hunter.
How about you, Shizzy?
No, sorry.
No battle for
gave up.
Hazard? You gave up World of Warcraft?
I gave up. I mean, I play casually every here and there, but I'm not going to be like, I haven't done any homework on it. I just play to have fun, really. I mean, you know, I could get competitive again, but I don't have an answer right now. It just, whatever game just holds my attention, I guess.
Right.
I got you one better. I've never made it outside of a starter zone before, so.
It's
Oh
true.
my gosh.
He has not. I can confirm this.
I get him out of a starting zone at least. I'll get him there.
Mystic, do you play
I'll
any
pop,
WoW?
I'll pop your cherry.
Yeah, I played it here and there. Just I'm the person who plays it for like the story. I go like LFR raids and I go, oh, that's pretty interesting. So that's what happened, and stuff like that.
I'm the
I
guy
do
that
kind of stuff.
dances in
Wait,
the back.
I do
and
that too.
AFKs and watches Netflix.
I play it for the story. That's the only reason I play it now. We watch all the LFR cutscenes when we play. So yeah, I totally play it for the story. I just happen to know the two allied races I'm going to play.
I'm 100% diehard hardcore. That's the only way I ever play any video game ever.
Yeah, I can't anymore. I just don't have the time for it.
Well, maybe this is a good spot to round off the show. So we'll start the outro here. Thanks to for everyone for listening to the Nexus Trolls.
Whoa! You cannot skip the line I put in. That has to be there. He did what he needs to for it.
Well, I have no idea what that is. You go for it.
You just read that part, man. It's easy. You just say, thank you to our first chieftain, Super Dave, for pledging his support to the Trolls.
Okay, I don't know why is Super Dave a chieftain? Can you explain this?
So Super Dave, chieftain.
I thought this
is
was Shiz altering.
No, that was totally.
I'm offended.
The show notes. I was starting my sign off and I saw a new little bullet point in there.
60-some episodes. So I haven't been here.
All right. So one of the $10 per month tier says that we will thank you as a chieftain for supporting our show. And Super Dave has fixed his Patreon pledge, and now he is at the chieftain tier. So now we must thank Super Dave at the end of our show for being a chieftain.
Sweet.
And eventually when we get enough, we'll have just a credit roll that we're going to use. But right now it's just Super Dave. So he gets a personal thank you for being not only our first chieftain, but currently
Dabs
our
was gonna
chieftain.
brush over you, Dave. How dare he?
I know. Well, we've only made him troll the week twice
and then
before.
blamed me of all people for being up to shenanigans.
So,
when am I ever up to shenanigans?
You have been known to be up to shenanigans.
I'm always up to shenanigans.
So thank you to our chieftain, Super Dave, for pledging his support to the Trolls. If you want to be a chieftain, head over to patreon.com. You can see the stretch, the goals there to become that. We'll thank you at the end of every show. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Nexus Trolls, a Hear the Storm podcast, which we stream live on this Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Sort of a late start this week. LiQuid, where can people find you on the internet?
I echo sorry for the late start this week. It wasn't actually work. I was taking my wife out for Valentine's Day.
Oh crap. Yes, thank you. my wife, thank you to my wife for being very understanding about this evening and postponing Valentine's Day to tomorrow.
Yeah, she so tomorrow's her birthday, so I couldn't do that.
Ooh,
So
it's my brother's birthday too.
The traffic coming back took us a little bit longer. That's why I was like, in fact, she typed a message. I'm like, can you launch Discord and tell Daz I'm going to be late? But you can find me on Twitter at LiQuiudGG. That's LiQiuDGG. I tweet whenever I'm going to do anything. So that is the best place to follow me.
How about you, Mystic?
You can follow me at Mystic Shroud. on Twitter.
And you can follow me at DazHots on Twitter. Shiz, do you want to be found on the internet, or do you like to lurk in
No,
corners?
I don't. I like my anonymous self.
I figured as much.
I'll find you.
Yeah, you don't need to find Shiz. He'll figure you out. Yeah.
Wow, Mystic is at 42 followers with 45 tweets right now. It's growing.
Oh dear lord, that's probably surpassing me. I got to do some tweeting here.
Man.
That's a good question.
Those are the bots, those Russian bots.
Before
LiQuiud
LiQuiud
put
does
them
his
to good use.
Before LiQuiud does his research and finds that I've got less followers than Mystic, thanks to all our patron supporters who like the show. And then for ways to support us, you can do so over at patreon.com/trollsgg. You can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you happen to find your podcasts online. You can visit our website at trolls.gg/TheNexusTrolls to watch this and past shows, along with past video streams, which can be found on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/trollsgg. For announcements about the show in general, here's the Storm News. You can follow us on Twitter at TheNexusTrolls, or general TrollsGG account at TrollsGG. And if you want to hang out with us and the Trolls community in-game, you can /join TrollsGG in-game or join our Discord channel. The information for that is at trolls.gg/discord. Hang around if you're listening, because we're going to be doing some after show games today, along with Shiz. And finally, if you need to get in touch with us, the best way is by email at TheNexusTrolls@TrollsGG. So everybody, thanks for listening. Have a great week.